It's time to ignite the dynamite. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to 10 Count Wrestling. I am Kaden Lee, and this is the first ever episode of Ignite the Dynamite on November 2nd, 2022. I did not save an Ignite the Dynamite sound effect, so I infused it from my phone. So I hope that sounded good. If you are watching, please let me know if that worked at all. This is my first episode. There's not really a ton out right now. I'm probably going to end up changing the time to like 7:15, 7:30 in the future, just because it's a little closer to the actual time. But let's go over what we do have. So let's pull up this card for AEW Dynamite. I did not have a lot of stuff set up. I was rushing to get here in time because I got stuck in traffic. All right, let's do some rec spec. Chris Jericho will take on a former world champion from ROH. We don't know if this is specifically a world champion like he's been facing, if this is a tag team champion, a former TV champion, a former pure champion. And yes, Zach Barber, sometimes you got to improvise. Yes, you do. And that's what I am doing right now. Make sure before I get started, drop your comments about anything we're going to talk about today. I want to get involved. I don't have super chats because I don't have anywhere close to the amount needed to get super chats. So just drop a comment. I'll read it live on air and I'll highlight it like I did with Zach Barber's. And leave a thumbs up. That very much helps with this new YouTube function of live streams separated from videos. It's the worst. I hate it. But thank you guys for joining me. And let's go talk about Chris Jericho taking on a former Ring of Honor champion. And no matter who it is, it's likely going to be a very good match. These matches from Jericho have been great. He started with Bandito, which was an awesome match. I was there when he beat Claudio Castagnoli in New York at Arthur Ashe Stadium, Grand Slam, September 21st. Awesome match again. And then, the Bandito one was awesome. I loved that match. That was one of my favorite Jericho matches in a very, very long time. Probably, I really liked his Moxley and Danielson matches, but I thought the Bandito match was just on like another level of match for me. And then, he's had the other matches where he faced, and of course now I'm blanking on anybody's face. He faced Bryan Danielson in Toronto, that third match between the two, that rubber match that they had because they were 1-1, and he beat him there. And then Jericho had another one. Now I can't think of what the other one he had. That was either last week or the week before. If somebody in the chat can help me and let me know who that is, I cannot remember the other person he faced. And I think it was, I don't know if it was last week or if it was the week before. Last week was the tag, I think last week was the tag match, which would have made it. I feel like there's one other person. Yes, Dalton Castle. Thank you, Zach Barber. Yes, Dalton Castle. And that was awesome. That was another great match. Dalton Castle and Jericho was so fun. So, Sports and Things shows saying, I think it's Claudio. And I'm going to say I don't think it's Claudio because I think they would have said that. I don't think they would have left a surprise to be somebody who Jericho's already faced. So there's a few options. I know a lot of people have been speculating Chris Hero. And while I think that's a good option, I don't know if that's necessarily a huge pop in Baltimore. It could be. It could be. But I'm also not the biggest Chris Hero fan, just personally. Like my wrestling, like what I like wrestling wise, Chris Hero just isn't for me. So I don't think it's going to be Chris Hero. Another option is a lot of people have been saying it could be Jerry Lynn. It's not going to be Jerry Lynn. Like I'm pretty sure he's never going to wrestle again. One that I'm very hopeful for in the future is Nigel McGuinness. I don't think tonight's the night, although it would be a great option to do that in Baltimore. But I'm going to go with Colt Cabana. I think it's going to be Colt Cabana. Another one before I get into Colt Cabana is Minoru Suzuki, a former ROH TV champion. He's in the in this area because he was wrestling in New York on Thursday and Friday. So I think it could be Minoru Suzuki. He's my second, but I'm going to go with Colt Cabana. Colt Cabana, obviously, with the stuff with CM Punk, is very hot right now in everybody's mind. So letting that music hit, I think this is the perfect time you do this match. It's going to get the most amount of fan reaction, I think, if you do it right now compared to any other time. He's in the news consistently because of what's going on with Punk and the Elite. It's just a great time to do it. He's not, as far as I know, he's not a champion, like a former world champion. So you can do it because it doesn't need to be a world champion. It can be anybody who's ever held a title in Ring of Honor. I'm also very cold right now. I don't have a blanket. My house or my apartment's AC is kicked all the way up. I'm also using a new camera. So if you see my eyesight's kind of moving, that's why. But just letting y'all know different things going on while I'm talking about Chris Jericho taking on Colt Cabana. That boom boom hitting is just going to be absolutely awesome. Imagine how awesome that's going to be, and the reaction from the fans right now. I think if you're going to do the Colt match, there's no better time to do it than right now. This is the best time to do it. Scott Colton's name is hot in the news. Everybody's talking about him. It's perfect. Capitalize off of it. The other thing about some rec spec is Darby Allin and Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal has his friend that's going to be there who told him all of Darby's weaknesses. Now, I have no idea. I did not follow Darby Allin until he came to AEW. So I don't know if there's anybody on the indies he used to tag with. However, during the control center of AEW, which I watched at 6 a.m. this morning while I woke up super early and could not go back to sleep, they showed, while Jay Lethal was talking about the friend, they showed clips of Sting. And he said, you're more worried about a guy who is just going to be out in the stands. And I thought that, while that started, I was like, oh, he's just going to say, oh, you're more worried about Sting getting back. And then, then he changed the sentence and was like, you're more worried about who my friend is, basically, is kind of what he said. So I wonder if that's a turn, is that we're going to see Sting turn heel, and it's going to be Sting. And Zach Barber, that is a great option. It could 100% be Miro, and I wouldn't mind it being Miro. Although I don't think that's the right spot to re-debut Miro and bring him back in. He's been out for he hasn't been seen since All Out, which would have been September 4th, if my days are correct. 4th or 6th, something like that. So about 2 months since we've seen Miro. I don't think this is the right spot to bring in Miro, and they only did one tag match together. They really, I know Miro Miro beat Darby to take the TNT title off of him, so that it wouldn't make sense. As I'm thinking about this more, I think I think it does make sense, but the way they're going to introduce him as being, I think they're going to put him out in the stands. It kind of looks like kind of the way they said it. And Zach Barber saying Sting's not turning heel. And that's what I thought until the more I thought about this, the more I'm I don't know who else it could be. And I think it's an interesting thing to do a Sting heel turn. There's a lot of options. Could it also be the House of Black? Could the House of Black have told him that it's the return of Malachi, and they just put that thing out? It doesn't need to be all four of them. It could just be Malachi or Julia. Julia has the most, I think, crossover into normal personisms. If that makes sense of what I'm trying to say. I think that one could also make sense, is that it is Julia Hart and that it's the return of them to go against Darby again, because that was the last match they had was against Darby and Sting, right? So to reintroduce them, I think that would make sense. Yeah, reintroduce them there. In terms of other people, I don't think it would be a debut. And that's why this is harder to pick for me than the ROH run, right? ROH, we have an idea of where the story is. With Jay Lethal, it could be somebody from ROH who's a friend of his. I'm extremely confused on who this could be. So yeah, Zach, I think your thing about Miro is perfectly possible. I'm going to go ballsy and say that this is Sting turning heel. And there's another thing we're going to rec spec, but I'm going to wait until the end of this rundown to go to that. The All-Atlantic Championship, Orange Cassidy defending against Rey Fenix from Mexico, and Luchasaurus, who does not have a country, which I love that little addition. They put the flags there in the graphics for the All-Atlantic matches, and of course he doesn't have a nation, so they didn't put one for Luchasaurus. I thought that was a nice little detail there. Instead of just saying, oh, he's from America, because that's where Luchasaurus really is from, they didn't put a nation. I thought that was nice. I like that. So I think this is Orange Cassidy retaining. I don't really see either of the other two men winning. I think that it's possible Jungle Boy could get involved here and make Luchasaurus not pick up the win, because that show was 3 weeks ago now at this point. about 3 weeks ago was that Dynamite where Jungle Boy lost to Luchasaurus. So I think it's very possible that they do that. Yeah. I thought he was from the Cretaceous period. That's where I thought he was from. He's 6 million years old, something like that. Yeah. I get too distracted doing these shows by myself. I've also have not eaten since 12 p.m. And I just got food from Wawa. Did not have time to eat this before the show because of traffic. But what was I saying? Yes, Jungle Boy. Triple threat rules. Jungle Boy could get involved and cause Luchasaurus to lose this. It's triple threat rules. So I don't remember if AEW has the same triple threat rules as WWE, New Japan, etc. about no DQs and the triple threats, but I believe they do. If I remember from I think the 4-ways had no DQs, that the women's 4-ways that they did. So I'm going to say Jungle Boy gets involved, Luchasaurus loses, and I think Phoenix probably takes the pin here. It could be Luchasaurus, but I'm going to say Phoenix takes the pin. And we see Minoru Suzuki taking on Orange Cassidy on Friday. It's the All-Atlantic All-Atlantic City Dream match in Atlantic City at the Boardwalk. Atlantic City Boardwalk. And so that's the match we've been waiting for, right? Spring Break 4, WrestleMania Weekend 2020. And it's time. Let's have the match already. It's been 2 years since it got canceled, 2.5 at this point. And I was supposed to go to that show. I was supposed to see them two, Orange Cassidy and Minoru Suzuki, and I'm very excited that it could possibly happen now. And that's the only reason I'm not picking Minoru Suzuki tonight to face Jericho, is because I think he's going to be on the show on Friday. So, it's still going to be a really fun match, though. Those three should have a really, really fun match. That could possibly be the opener, or I don't know what they want. It'll either open or close, in my opinion, for that one. We have the Daddy Ass Birthday Bash. Good old rhyming there. Renee Paquette is going to sit down with Britt Baker and Saraya. Saraya tweeted yesterday or 2 days ago at this point that she got some amazing news over the weekend. So I am going to dangerously speculate that I think that means she could be cleared. And they could say tonight that Full Gear. Saraya taking on Crazy Murder Grandpa versus Mr. Freshly Squeezed should be interesting. Oh, it'd be fucking awesome. But I think that we are going to see Saraya take on Dr. Britt Baker at Full Gear, and they're going to announce that tonight. So that's what I'm guessing is what we're going to get out of that with the sit down with Renee Paquette. AEW TBS Championship, Jade Cargill versus Marina Shafir. I believe this is a rematch because I'm pretty sure Marina Shafir was the 30th competitor to take on Jade Cargill back in April or late March. It's been a while since they did that match. And Jade's going to win. I don't really know what else I need to say other than I love the Nyla stuff. It's fun. I think it's really funny. JD from New York's kind of a fucking clown. I'll bury him. I don't really give a shit. But that's it. That's all I need to say there. Jade Cargill is awesome. AEW World Championship Eliminator match. Jon Moxley is taking on Lee Moriarty. Moxley's obviously going to win. He's not going to get pinned. But this is going to be a really good match. Lee Moriarty is awesome. I love him. I'm a fan of Tiger Style. I love his, I play his theme song fairly frequently because I really like that theme song. And I always clap for him whenever he would come out to wrestle on Dark Elevation. I'm excited. This is a good match for Lee Moriarty. Should have a really good showcase. And yes, Zach Barber, Nyla is hilarious. I love Nyla Rose. Ring of Honor TV Championship. Samoa Joe versus Brian Cage is the last match on the card I'm going to talk about. And I saved this for last because I think Samoa Joe is going to lose his title. I think he will lose his title tonight and the Embassy will get involved. It'll set up, or it could be the Embassy. It could also be the Kingdom. It's a lot of things you can do here. I think it could be setting up probably the Embassy, War Joe versus Gates of Agony, because I don't think we've seen that tag match yet. Setting that up probably for next week on Dynamite or on Rampage on Friday. But I do think Samoa Joe is going to lose tonight to Brian Cage. Brian Cage will get his first official title in AEW ROH. And the reason I think this is if you go look at the posters for Final Battle on December 10th from Arlington, Texas, Samoa Joe is all over those fucking posters. So I think that they're going to do Samoa Joe versus Christopher Jericho. I don't know. I lost my thought there. Versus Chris Jericho at Final Battle. I think that's what they're going to do in the main event. It makes sense. Do it. Awesome. Cool. So yeah, that's a quick little rundown of Dynamite tonight. And like, honestly, all the matches look really good. I think even like Jade and Marina will probably be the worst just by elimination. And that's not even saying anything bad because I think it'll still be good. It's just the other matches are fucking awesome. We got some really good matches tonight. And that's what I've always said about Dynamite is Dynamite can do a few different things, right? Dynamite can have the amazing matches. It can have mid matches and better storytelling, or it can do neither, right? It can do both, where it can do a mixture of good matches and a mixture of good storytelling, which is what the Tuesday night title was, I think is what they called it, or Title Tuesday in Cincinnati. That was a show I thought they did a really good job with storytelling and with titles, and that's why it was such a good show before the ending happened. And there was a show before that too where I really liked, or maybe it was the show after Title Tuesday. It was Title Tuesday and then Norfolk. I did not like Norfolk, if that's the order I'm getting correct, right? Title Tuesday and then Norfolk. So yeah, I didn't like Norfolk. And my issue with Norfolk was I didn't think the matches were that good. And I didn't think the storytelling was that good either. And that's where you get the worst part, is not good storytelling and not good matches. So the good thing is tonight, we're going to at least have good matches. All the matches look very good. There's a lot. And that's my biggest worry, is that there's 4 title matches. And that's Zach Barber. I'm about to get into that. That's the last thing I'm going to get into. But there's 4 title matches. And an eliminator match and Darby versus Jay Lethal. There's 6 matches on this show, plus a sit down and a birthday bash in the middle of the ring. There's a lot on this show. So am I a little worried about time? Yes, I am a little worried about time. I'm actually extremely worried about timing on this show because I want everybody to get the time that they deserve. But at least we know that the matches most likely will be very good in ring. And we'll get at least 2 really good matches just based off of elimination, right? When we get really good matches on the card, we're going to probably get really good matches in the ring, at least like half of them. So I'm at least excited for the matches tonight, and I hope that the sit down is something that we can get some story. Birthday Bash will get some story there, and then use these matches to push story, right? Lee Moriarty and Moxley will push story. Samoa Joe and Brian Cage will likely push story. Jericho stuff is going to continue him as being the killer of Ring of Honor. I hope that maybe tonight we get a big opponent for Full Gear for him. Maybe that's where we get a Nigel McGuinness, because that'd be fucking awesome. So there's a lot of things you can do tonight on Dynamite other than the matches to continue the story, and that's why I'm very hopeful about tonight's Dynamite. Extremely hopeful. It's last week I did not enjoy that Dynamite whatsoever. It wasn't for me. I thought the booking wasn't great. Wasn't a fan of the matches in ring. So I hope tonight's better, and I'm hopeful that it is, just based off of what I'm looking at and what they could do. And now Zach Barber, the big thing that Alvarez mentioned, I have no fucking clue. And let me be very clear about this before I go into any speculation. I have no idea what is going on. And what I think is going to happen is, I assume the Elite are back. I mean, the only other thing could be that it's somebody big from Ring of Honor, or somebody big from New Japan. Give me a second, actually. I just saw a tweet. I'm going to check this tweet. This is the thing about doing the show, is that I have to be checking tweets. No, that's not what I thought the tweet was. But I am going to check tweets real quickly. Because I hope nobody leaves. I already know people have left. But I'm just trying to make sure that there's no news, but I'll keep talking while I do this. So, fucking, now I lost my goddamn train of thought. Zach, get me back on track. Zach Barber, say something, get me back on track. Give me a topic while I look through this. And I will talk about whatever you want me to talk about. I need something. Please, somebody, anybody in the chat, give me something to talk about, because I lost my train of thought and I can't get it back. I haven't eaten today. This isn't good. Oh yeah, the big thing. That's what I was talking about. The Elite. I mean, I think it's the Elite coming back. And we saw the disappearing thing, and a lot of, I was very confused, right? Like, what is this disappearing thing? What could this possibly mean? And what I think it could mean is that they were practically okay. So Zach Barber wants to talk about MJF, so I'll talk about that once I finish this thought. So what I think it is that they were being erased, right? There's no company without them. There is no elite. There is no all elite wrestling without the elite, and that's the eraser of everything, right? After All Out, they weren't mentioned. Like when Tony stripped the titles, he didn't even say we're stripping the titles from CM Punk and the Elite. He just said he just said there's going to be new champions crowned, right? He didn't really mention that champions were being stripped in the first place. It was very vague. So that's why I think it's going to be the Elite returning, and that's what that meant, is that it's now their time. They're coming back. And I'm just looking through the comments underneath what's his name's fucking Wrestling Observer. Looking under their Twitter. As you can tell, I'm extremely stressed out right now because this is my first time doing it. Zach, I really appreciate you sticking around the whole time. I'm sure this has been kind of a fucking train wreck. And I'll be better next week. I promise. Hopefully I'll bring on guests too. So that's something else, is I hope to bring on guests in the future to talk about this. And my whole point was to have breaking news, because usually we get breaking news. And I think I just started this show a little early. So I will be probably pushing this show 7:30 from now on. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna definitely do that. And of course now my Wi-Fi is going down. Perfect. Let me change my definition to be lower. Hopefully that helps a little bit. MJF is awesome. I don't really know what else to say. MJF's doing really good work right now. He's telling a compelling story. He's having some character changes, which is absolutely awesome. That's something I've needed out of him. And he's doing that. So I really like what MJF is doing right now, to be honest. I have no complaints with his character. No complaints with this story. I really hope that he's becoming an anti-hero. And by that, I mean, Zach, what am I relaxing about? That I'm not good? I don't know. What am I supposed to relax about? I'm confused. I don't know. I've been up a long time. Somebody tweeted Johnny Gargano's debuting tonight. Amazing. I think Kevin Steen is the opponent for yeah, anyways. Yeah. I'm gonna chill with y'all for a little bit. Zach, there's anything else? You're my viewer. So there's anything else you want to talk about? Yeah, Zach, I'm always stressed. Trust me. I'm always stressed out. Welcome to my life. So let's see. Anything else in the wrestling world? I was going to review Dark and Dark Elevation. I did not have time to finish the shows just because of timing today. I thought I was, and then just some stuff came up, and I had to make graphics for this show, and that took a very long time. I thought it was going to take 5 minutes, and ended up taking an hour and a half. So that is partially my fault for not getting everything done. But next week, I'm going to have Dark Elevation finished. I'm going to be a little bit more planned out for the show. I'm going to try to get a guest on. There's somebody I want to bring on eventually, and we'll see if I can get him on. That'd be pretty awesome if I can get on who I want to get on. What else? Finish the show by talking about what I'm doing the rest of the week. So tomorrow, I'm not going to say who I'm interviewing, but I am interviewing somebody tomorrow. I'm not sure when it will be out, but I'm doing it. And I'm very excited for that, actually. I'm very, very excited for that interview tomorrow. Also, it is now storming outside in Florida. Welcome to Florida. So I'm doing a really big interview tomorrow. A big interview for me in terms of just where I am at. It's a very big interview for me, so I'm very excited for y'all to see that. I'm doing it for Fightful, which is pretty cool. So yeah, y'all will see that whenever it's posted and timely enough to be posted, which is hopefully soon because timely news came out that will help that interview. Tomorrow, I'm also pre-recording because I will be on Coexisting After Dark with Rob and Maggie over on Fightful Overbooked. which that will not be on Fightful Overbook. That'll be on Fightful Select for $5 a month. Fightful Select on Patreon. That will be Friday. Usually they start those, they'll premiere it around like 4:30, maybe 4:45 p.m. Eastern time. So that we're pre-recording that tomorrow, and that'll be up Friday afternoon. So go check that out. I love Rob and Maggie. And Zach, yes, but surprisingly, it has not rained for a few weeks. It's been very dry. So I hear storms. I don't know if it is. It says it's supposed to, which I'm fine with. I like the rain, but it hasn't rained in like a few weeks. So it is now basically after the hurricane. Like, it has not rained since the hurricane. Maybe once, if I can remember. I think there's maybe been like one, but it has not rained a lot. But I love rain, so bring me all the rain. And so I'll be on Coexisting After Dark. I love them. Hey, bad guy Jack ended up joining. I haven't seen you in a long time, man. How are you doing? Yeah, so since bad guy Jack just joined, Ron, that shoot name Ron. So just to give you I'll give him a little rundown of what the show is. Basically, I'm just previewing Dynamite, and I'm just having a good time. I like talking. As you can tell, I've been rambling for 5 minutes at this point. Zach, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. If anybody watching, please leave a thumbs up, leave a comment. I love to talk to you people and get involved down there. So since this is also my first episode in this studio in 10 Count Wrestling, let's talk about the studio, because I haven't done that yet. So behind me, I've got all of this. It's awesome. So I got Best Friends. That's from December 2020. I've got MJF from 2019. That was from the Garland show in Dallas, Texas in December 2019. I got MJF and Wardlow, which is not actually signed by MJF, but signed by Wardlow, because he fucking signed it for MJF. Pissed me off. I paid $50 for that. But that was from February 12th, 2020, HEB Center. Britt Baker, January 1st, 2020. Same with Phoenix and Penta, January 1st, 2020. I got that. Finn Balor, I believe, summer of 2018. And that's artwork. I don't remember the artist's name. I got it at a con, and signed by Finn Balor, which I also have another Finn Balor signed thing back in Texas, on my home in Texas. So hopefully it's the Balor Club jacket, the OG Balor Club jacket, that first one that they released. It doesn't have the Finn sign, like the lightning bolt kind of sign that they have. It has like the Balor Club's logo on it. Instead, it just says Balor Club. But I do have that signed by Finn. I got that from Royal Rumble 2019, signed by Finn. I do love that jacket. So hopefully one day I'll get it out here and I can put it up on my wall. And I do plan on putting more stuff up. I have a lot more in. I have a bucket back here that has signed Rey Mysterio 8x10, and I have I don't know if my Santana Ortiz one is here, but I do have a Santana Ortiz. I have a Velvet, and I got some other really cool things that aren't necessarily wrestling related. Like, I got some really cool signed hockey jerseys. I have a Stan Lee signed Spider-Man poster. So I really like my Spider-Man poster. I love that Stan. It's a picture of the 2002 Spider-Man, and it's signed by Stan Lee. It's awesome. Love it. I've also got a Miami Heat signed team ball from 2018. So there's a lot of things that I'm going to kind of add in here. But if you guys in the chat have any suggestions for things I can put up and help with my setup, like, I'm going to I got to move that trash can. I've got to move that stool because those look horrible. I'll move those eventually. I'm not going to paint because I can't paint. Actually, I could paint, but I'm not going to paint. But there's more I'm going to put up. I also have a GCW flag that I tried hanging up and did not want to fucking stick. Pissed me the fuck off trying to do that. And before I head out, because I really want to eat before Dynamite starts in 30 minutes, I'm just going to do a quick little Twitter check. If anybody in the chat has heard anything news related for Dynamite, please let me know. Usually we get news right around now, which is why I'm really upset that we didn't get news. Of course, like the 1 week going into Dynamite, we didn't get news. Where is a fight? There's been fights every week. Why is there not a fight the 1 week I decided to do a show? Kind of making me upset. Annoying. But, AEW just dropped a teaser for Final Battle, and it's headlined with, so it has Samoa Joe, The Kingdom, Daniel Garcia, the Briscoes, FTR, Gates of Agony, Chris Jericho, Wheeler, Dalton Castle, it looked like. interesting who they're putting in this final battle teaser. So they did put the Briscoes in there. I don't think so. I think it legitimately just says Stan Lee. I'm pretty sure it's just Stan Lee, and I got it post-mortem. I think that's the correct face. I also, another really cool thing I really like is I have a Black Panther signed Ryan Coogler and Chadwick Boseman poster, which it's like a very like long one, and I have two of them because my mom got one and did not want it, so she gave it to me because she doesn't really care about superhero movies. So I have two of those, and they're back in Texas. Obviously, I did not bring them with me to Florida for college, but I really like those, and those will eventually be in one of my setups in the future because I eventually over time will talk about my love for Chadwick Boseman. Today's not really the episode to do it, but I do really love Chadwick Boseman. So that will definitely be up here eventually. There's a lot I want to do with the studio, and I love input from people. Like, tell me what you guys like. I like to know what looks good in a setup. This is my first time ever really doing a setup. So give me suggestions. I used to just use my room, and this apartment, I found a corner and I made it a setup, and that's just what this is for. It's awesome. I love it. So there's a lot of cool things I'm going to do in the future with this show. There's a lot of other things I want to do. And yes, Zach Barber, Wakanda Forever. So excited. One more week till the movie. So excited. But let me know, like, who you guys want to see me have on, right? There's a lot of people in this community and in wrestling that I would love to have on for an episode of this going in. A lot of it's just depending on the time because it's early, right? It's depending on where you are, it's a little early. It's going into a show. People are working. So it's not the easiest show that it will be for me to get people on, but I hope I can because this is mainly just going to be a fun show. I'm not going to take anything super serious. I just want to have a good time chatting with people and do something different, right? This is something that not a lot of people do. People don't usually do preview shows in the hour leading into a show. It's not very much done in wrestling media right now. So this is something I wanted to do a little different. And it's mainly to talk to people and to have a good time and talk about what we all love talking about, right? We all love wrestling. So thank you guys for joining me. I hope you guys have fun watching Dynamite, and let's ignite that fuse.